Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Four Continental Podcast. Perhaps the final episode of our World Cup series. Let's just get straight into the final game. So after a long time, obviously the four of us are finally here in one podcast after quite some time. Let's just head straight into the final and. Hear everyone's thoughts. So, what did you think of the final?
I think I could start. It wasn't as good as I expected, from the game France versus England, the game from the previous day to this one. The level of the quality of the game kind of decreased a little, but I kind of expected like Spain to have like more possession, more like domination, but it was way more than I expected. Not gonna lie. Argentina couldn't really do anything. I think they had like the first finish at like the second half of the extra time. So yeah, they were like pretty bad and mostly defending most of the time. So I think Spain just lacked good finishing because if they had like Oyarzabal wasn't in his best days, to be honest, and not Baena too, because if Spain had like better finishes, they could have like won that way before. Wouldn't even have to get to extra time. So yeah, I think it was like very expected from what we've seen like from the first half. And if the match went to penalties, I think Argentina would win, but Spain finally got their goal in the on the second half. What about you guys? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, like going to this game, I was like hoping it would be like a close and intense game, but even though I did still enjoy the game, I think in general the game was just quite one-sided. Like you have said, I mean, Argentina, I think like the only two shots they had was like at the second half of the second extra, like the extra time. But yeah, I think Spain, they were dominating in every aspect really much. I think the goalie really didn't even have to do much. But like we were saying, I think Spain, they knew like Argentina, they tried to like control the game and stuff, and they kind of perfectly countered that. The whole time, Argentina, when they even get the ball, they just really couldn't do anything with it. It felt like they were really lacking a game plan, and it was kind of like embarrassing to see them like basically like defending the whole time because Spain, realistically, they were just attacking the whole time, and like Diego has said, I think like if they had like better finishing, they would have scored goals earlier because Martinez, I think he was really the best Argentina player for the match. I mean, he was really the only one who was like saving them hard. I mean, he made a lot of saves. And yeah, I mean, we got to see like Spain just kind of play like a beautiful style of football, though. Like, I remember like recall like seeing chances from Yamal, Oyarzabal, Olmo. And yeah, and one thing I was adding on, like we have always said the Bayana Olmo, the teams, like, I mean the players, they kind of like excel against like like the defensive style of play, and yeah, we just kind of seen that today as well. I mean the Spain attack, they were having like no trouble in like ripping apart the defense, but yeah, and then the Enzo Fernandez red card. I mean, yeah, I mean, what was he even thinking? That was quite dumb as well. And eventually, Ferran Torres got his goal, and after that, he had another offside goal, which was offside. But yeah, I feel like they could have wrapped the game up way earlier, like Diego said. And there were controversies as well, but I'll let Momin explain that. But what do you think of the game, David?
Yep, I think that's a great analysis. I think I agree with you both. I think Spain did dominate, but I think Spain should have dominated a little bit more. Like I think they were definitely lacking a goal scorer. I thought Yamal, I thought he was a bit underwhelming. I think he was kind of a bit absent in this whole tournament, especially this game. And like I know that Argentina were marking two men on him, but still though I feel like he should have done a little bit more. I think Spain not having a proper left wing. They had Bayana, which he's okay, but he's not elite. I think not having Nico Williams at full ability, I think that costed them. Like this game should have been done in the 90 minutes. It should have never
Yeah,
gone
yeah,
to
like
extra time. What?
Williams should have done better with the header for sure.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Did you see how he fumbled and kicked it out? Bruh. that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
a,
that's right.
that was so bad. Like if he was on form and starting left wing, I think Spain could have won this 2-3-0, to be honest. But yeah, what do you think, Mobbin?
Yeah, I mean, as everyone said, it's I mean not really much to talk about from the Argentinians' perspective, but man, credit where due. Spain, they played brilliantly. I mean, coming into the tournament, they were one of the favorites. After the first game against Cape Verde, people started doubting them. So yeah, and then they just made a really good comeback. And they faced, I think they faced Austria in the round of 32. Then they faced Portugal. Then they faced Belgium, and then finally they faced France. And I think the closest team that came to defeating them was perhaps Belgium, because I think they're the only ones that have scored a goal against them. But yeah, uh, you could kind of tell that when, especially, like they've been brilliant in all of their knockout games, but especially after that France game, yeah, I think that they just wrote their name on the trophy with that performance, and of course, I mean, Scaloni had this in mind that this Spain team is obviously, they like to play with the possession, and they like to move the players around, and they like to frustrate their opponents, which they basically did in this game. They made the Argentinians, lose their cool. They made them, make aggressive tackles, which led to Fernandez being suspended. Although his first yellow card was due to some harsh protesting after he fell down and the foul wasn't given. But yeah, and speaking of Spain specifically in this game, since the starting minute of the game, I think Spain, really asserted their dominance tactically over this game, and I mean it shows like how we saw Luis de la Fuente. He's basically the coach of Lionel Scaloni as well. I mean, it's all sometimes really hard to outclass your own master, and Lea Fuente really showed this in this game. And perhaps it took Spain 16 years to build another super team, and now they're literally unstoppable. They can potentially, make the same run as Argentina in the previous years. They won the Copa and then the World Cup and then the Copa again, and now Spain are on the same track as well. They won the Euros, now they won the World Cup. Now they can win the next Euros as well, and then the 2030 World Cup as well, because all of their players would still be, you could say, in their prime perhaps during the 2030 World Cup. So yeah, if Spain play like they are, I have absolutely no doubt in mind that this team could potentially be one of the best international teams of all time. But yeah, now coming to Argentina, I think since the starting minute, they basically their whole plan was to try to take it to the penalties, because they know they had an advantage in the penalty shootout, because we've seen how good Martinez is in penalties. So they were like, really parking the bus since the very first minute. Uh, but I think what really costed their defense was the fact that both of their starting center backs, Romero and Lisandro Martinez, were off injured, and they could not really continue and for the full 90 minutes. Otamendi, I mean, he did good, but I mean, of course, he didn't really play as much as compared to Romero and Martinez. We've seen how crucial Romero has been for Argentina in this World Cup, and I think if maybe things would have been a bit different if they weren't really injured. But yeah, Spain really, they control the nerve of Argentina. Like how every play of Argentina goes through Messi. The Spain press was so intense that they wouldn't let Argentinian players get the ball forward. I mean, we saw very. I mean, less times when Messi really had the ball in this game, but when he did, he did try to create something from it. But the Spain's defense, the Spain's midfield were too resilient to let anything pass through. But yeah, Spain completely, outclassed Argentina in every aspect of the game here. I mean, it was a tactical masterclass from De La Fuente and this in this young Spanish side, and their future is really bright. And now, as for a quick talk on the controversies, perhaps starting off with the first disallowed goal of Spain. I personally think it was a legitimate foul because Mikel Merino stepped on Otamendi's foot. I don't really get what the controversy is about really, and perhaps there's one controversy where I feel like this has to be talked about is the fact that Rodri getting the golden ball. I think I think Messi should have gotten it with how he's carried this Argentina team. I mean, if you look at every attacking stat, it's just Messi leading every single attacking stat out there for Argentina. So I mean, it was an insane carry job from Messi throughout the tournament, but he couldn't really do so in the final. But I mean, there's nothing more you could expect from Messi. He's 39. He still pushed for his best, and he almost pulled it off. But yeah, massive respect to Spain, and yeah, they I mean they completely uh, you know deserve this win, and hopefully they can continue to bring more success to their country as well. Yeah, David wanted to add something on the Argentine tactics.
Yes, hello, hello. So, what I thought was crazy was the way that all the Argentine subs were defenders. Like, three of those subs were defenders. They had the fullbacks and the two centre backs. And I do know about the Martinez situation. That's just unfortunate. But then what happened with Romero? He goes off at 70 minutes. You sub out your right back. Strange. They subbed out their midfielders, which I think what's his name, Paredes. I don't know if that's how you say it, but I think it was good they brought him in, even though he's a dirty player. But I just feel like the subs were outrageous. Like it killed the game. Like you have to make attacking subs. Like I think bringing on Simeone was a good move, but then in extra time you take off Alvarez, you bring on Senesi. I just think these subs by the Argentine coach absolutely killed the game for them. They had no attacking threat. They had Messi up top who walks. He doesn't press. He works in a system. He doesn't work by himself. I think, yeah, especially after Enzo Fernandez's red card, yeah, I think Argentina cooked the game for themselves. Like, how can you not play Lautaro Martinez? Is what I think. Does anyone have any thoughts?
Yeah, that's what like I was saying. I think like the substitutions he made, like surely it just kind of reinforced the idea that he really wanted to just take the game to penalties. I mean, there's
Literally,
nothing more I can really think of. Like you have
100%.
said, he took off Alvarez to bring on Senesi. I mean, thinking of attacker to bring on a defender. I mean, and then he also subbed on like other defenders to bring out more defenders.
For
And
real.
in replacement, I think yeah, it just showed the point like he knew he was lost and only hope was to take the game to penalties. But Diego, what do you want to add on?
Now it feels like he didn't learn enough from Tuchel, from the literally the previous game where he could have just kept attacking and just brought on defenders and ended up losing anyway. So I agree with you both. I think he should have planned on actually attacking more, having more control of the midfield. But yeah, I think it wasn't working at first, and after the subs, it kept like not working. They couldn't really finish. They couldn't really create anything. So it was like not a good like tactical. move by Scaloni. And I also wanted to add, I wanted to ask you guys about the referee decisions. Do you guys agree with like the first goal that Spain scored? The and he disallowed that goal. Do you think that was like a foul or
Ooh.
or no?
I think I think it was not a foul. I think that's outrageous. And I think the way that Martinez was lying on the floor, for what? He did not get touched. It was the foul before him, which is what got the goal disallowed. But I just think, yeah, I think that's outrageous. It should absolutely been a goal, in my opinion. I watched the replay back quite a few times and I still don't get it, to be honest. I think Spain are robbed, but what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It was a go-to. It wasn't a foul, and not only that, but I think Paredes should have been sent off too. Enzo was sent off, correctly, and I think Paredes also was
Yeah,
committing lots of fouls and
I agree.
not a red card for him. But yeah,
Yeah.
we. What do you think, Sing Pakim moment?
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I do think the first one was a foul, but at the same time, I feel like if it was in Argentina, they wouldn't have even looked at it that seriously. And the fact that they didn't even take it to VAR, I do think they should have done that at least. But yeah, and for the Paredes, I actually wanted to ask Moment about this because I think it speaks about the controversies quite well. So, Moment, can you explain on that?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this throughout the tournament. He's, an aggressive players. He, fouls a lot, but yeah, although he did get a, yellow. Yeah, he did get a yellow in this game, but I think what most people are referring to here was the foul he made on, I think it was Olmo, when Yamal got the free kick right before the full time whistle, which was saved by Martinez. I think that foul is what most people are referring to. But yeah, I think, I mean, you could argue it was more like a 50-50, because I mean, although it was a foul, but I think it was just a s- perhaps a slight tap on his, on his foot. But yeah, if we talk about the goal that was disallowed for Spain in the 90th minutes, within the 90 minutes, I think if we look at the goal against Egypt, that was, disallowed. I mean, it makes sense because it was perhaps the same foul. He stepped on Otamendi's, foot, Mikel Merino, which basically led to the goal being overturned. Uh, so yeah, but of course many people would, agree, disagree. It's freedom of, opinion of choice. But yeah, I think if we look at like officiating in this World Cup altogether, I think there's been pretty controversial decision, not just for the Argentina game, but also for other games as well, which aren't really talked about, because yeah, once again, this hate propaganda has been, really insane throughout this World Cup, and just targeting one team, and completely forgetting about the other controversial calls that were happened in the other games. So yeah, but yeah, for this, after the full time whistle, the Spain players, of course, they tried to provoke them. They celebrated in front of their faces, but yeah, I agree, they should not have done that. But yeah, at that moment, it's just emotion and passion. It's something you cannot really control. But yeah, we pushed Eric Garcia, and then he pushed Gavi as well. Yeah, he pushed him. He got the suspension for that. But yeah, that what happened towards the end of the game. I think it was not very, sportsmanlike, and the Argentina players should have, controlled their nerves. But it's the World Cup final, and it doesn't really get any bigger than this. But yeah, it was still a bit, bad to see from Argentina, being, like that. So, uh, anyone wanna add anything else regarding the game, or do we, get to the awards that were awarded by FIFA at the end of the tournament.
Who do you guys think would win if the match like went to penalties? Because that's what I was like expecting. Because Martinez was literally saving everything that came his way, and Spain just couldn't score at that point. I think Argentina would have won because Martinez is just very good at penalties.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
yeah,
I agree with Diego's point as well. I mean, throughout the game, we did see like Spain that had like a lot of chances, and Martinez was just making so many saves. And if like the Spain finishing was better, they would have scored goals. And I think in penalties, Argentina would have grabbed that advantage. And I think Martinez would have actually saved some pens, and Argentina would have cooked in the penalties. And I think they would have won with that. What do you think, David?
Yeah, I completely agree, to be honest. I think even extra time, I was thinking this benefits Argentina. But then they kept making stupid subs. So then Argentina had no chance because the dumb subs they made. Like they had Lautaro Martinez on the bench unused and they took Alvarez off. So with those on the field, they could have won it, to be honest. So I think on penalties, yeah, I reckon Argentina would have won. And even if there was good subs and extra time, Argentina also could have won. I think Spain are very lucky that Argentina had bad tactics because Spain should have scored more. But Diego, um, what do you think about Spain? Do you think they really lack just the good striker, or is there other positions?
I think they like a good striker, because the midfield is very, very good. They were like dominating, they were creating chances, but I think they lack a proper striker, someone like they had in the past, like Diego Costa, David Villa, this level of striker. I think if they had someone like them, they would have like killed the game earlier, not even take it to extra time. But Ferran like surprised all of us and scored, and I was like feeling he would do something, on him or Merino because they always Merino always comes on and does something in these big matches. So it was a great surprise for sure. And I think if Spain finds that guy, that proper strike, I think Oyarzabal can also improve. They will be even more lethal. And Yamal wasn't also having like the best day, wasn't on his best day. I think he could have done way more. I think the injury is still like affecting him, but I think this Spain team can, as Mommy said before, they can actually keep improving and be on the next like finals, the next World Cup, like Euros. They got like a great squad and can only improve for now.
yeah,
Mm,
for sure.
yeah,
So,
no, I agree. Singpak, do you think that Argentina have any chance at reaching the finals again next World Cup?
I mean, that's quite interesting because I mean, we have seen the team. It is quite similar to the one we have seen last World Cup, and obviously with the players aging and stuff, I do think for the next World Cup we will see like a lot of brand new players, and obviously one of the big topics is Messi gonna retire now from the international team, and while I do think like he might push it to the next Copa America at least, I really don't think he will play in the next World Cup, and I think that obviously that would be a big blow, but yeah, I don't think we can really like guess that for now because, in my opinion, I think Argentina, the team, will be quite different from the 4 years from now because a lot of new talents and stuff. But what do you think, Diego?
Yeah, I think Scaloni is also leaving, right? He said he was leaving. So I think it's like dark times, not only for Argentina, but for like South American football, because Uruguay is finished. But they brought on Forlan as the new coach now, which I don't think will work. I think he doesn't really have enough experience, and Uruguay doesn't really produce like isn't really producing great talents like they did in the past, like Cavani, Suarez, So in Argentina, they won't have like Messi and Scaloni anymore. So I'm not expecting much from them. Colombia won't have James, I think, in the next World Cup or Quintero. And Brazil also is now really producing good talent. So I think the future will be like European domination. but I hope we can improve for sure. What do you think about this, like David?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think South American football is in a hard place right now. I think the best team will be Brazil in future years, I think. Like I definitely think you guys have talent. Like give Endrick another 5 years, 4 or 5 years, maybe even two more World Cups. I think he'll be good. He'll be in prime form. I think you have what's his name, Esteval. Like you have Andre Santos. Like I think Brazil will produce some wonder kids and be a bit of a powerhouse. But for the other countries, I agree. I think Argentina, all their players for this World Cup were the same as last World Cup, pretty much. And apart from maybe Alvarez, Lautaro Martinez, what good players would they have, really? Like, I know they have, what's his name? Is it Nico
Mm.
Paz?
Yeah,
And they
Nico
have
Pass.
yeah, Simeone, and they have a few youngsters. But yeah, I think once this current generation of Argentina players retire, which will be in the next 4 years, pretty much, like even like McAllister, Enzo, they're getting older now. Like they're not going to be in their prime in 4 years. I think yeah, Argentina definitely fall off for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been apart from the 2022 World Cup. I think the rest of the previous World Cups have mostly gone to the European nations. I think in 2006 it went to Italy, 2014 it went to Germany, 2018 it went to France, and now it went to Spain. But yeah, this is definitely perhaps a dark period for the South American football. I mean, we used to see how good of a nation uh, Chile was. Now they basically are non-existent. And then we have teams like Ecuador, Colombia. I mean, they do have good players, but things don't really work for them. Colombia, I mean Brazil, they have good talents as well, but they just can't can't make it past some quarters and stuff like that. But and similar with Argentina after Messi retires, obviously this will be a big blow to this side, but. I think that the upcoming years will definitely be tough for Argentina. I mean, with all their players, I think Messi is gonna retire. Martinez probably is gonna go. De Paul is gonna go. I think Fernandez, McAllister gonna play maybe next World Cup or maybe even the other 2034 as well because they're both 24, 20, 25, 26. So yeah, but obviously they won't really might not be at the best till the 2034. They still had some good players in bench like Nico Paz, Barco, Giuliano Simeone. But yeah, I mean to shift from a current set of players that has been winning the trophies to a new set of players. Definitely, there will be a shift in tactics and etc. as well. As Kaloni said, I think he is currently only planning to be the coach until December. So yeah, let's see what the future hold awaits for them. And similarly, with Uruguay, as Diego mentioned, Diego Forlan, who doesn't really have much experience, but I think he might do well. He might not. It's more like 50-50 because I personally tend to think that uh, a player from their own country, when he tries to coach, he understands the system well, so maybe he can lead them to some success. But yeah, it's too early to say. And South American football definitely needs to step it up. Countries like Brazil, and I mean they're still in trouble, because they're still only one World Cup ahead of Italy and Germany. So yeah, I think they in the 2030 World Cup they should definitely be going for the win to assert their dominance once again. But yeah, as David mentioned, I think Brazil, how big of a nation it is, and I think it definitely will produce some other wonder kids as well. Players like Estevao, Endrick, they will be much more developed until the next World Cup. So yeah, maybe some exciting times ahead for Brazil, but we'll have to wait and see. So now, do we move to the awards or something? Given by FIFA at the end of the tournament. The golden ball, silver ball, bronze ball, silver boot, golden boot, bronze boot. So yeah, and most importantly, the talking about the player of the tournament. Do you all think that Rodri was the deserving player for the player of the tournament?
I'd say it should be Messi, but Rodri is not like a bad choice, you know. He really like carried that midfield. Not carried it because all of them played well, but he was like the main man in that midfield, and especially in these big games, you know, against France, against Argentina. And yeah, I would give it to Messi, but I don't think it's like undeserved. What do you think, Simpa?
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people are shitting on the fact that Rodri won it, and while yeah, I think like Rodri, he has been crucial for Spain. I mean, we've seen like how he controlled the games and stuff. But yeah, in my opinion, I do think Messi should have won it as well because I think like obviously Messi was super crucial for Argentina and Rodri was like crucial for Spain as well. But I feel like Messi was just relatively more crucial for Argentina in the sense like I feel like he just like carried Argentina more, right? I feel like Spain. I mean, for Rodri, obviously he did like he was quite important as well. But I feel like relatively, if if they didn't Spain didn't have Rodri, I think they wouldn't have done as bad as if Argentina didn't have Messi. So that's my opinion. What do you think, David?
Um, yep, I completely agree. I think it should have been Messi. And what bothers me about this is they always give it to the winning team. That's what bothers me. And I think that's such a stupid rule. Like Messi was literally there and he played one average game, but every other game he was dominant. I just don't get why he didn't win it. Like Rodri didn't have any particularly special moments. He was pretty just solid the whole time. I think it should have been Messi, maybe even Bellingham. He had a very good tournament. Could have been Mbappe. Could have been a whole bunch of players. I don't really think that Rodri deserved it particularly, to be honest. Um, yeah, so I don't really agree with that so much. Like I'd say Rodri was probably top three options for it, but definitely should have been Messi. And I think it's stupid that the winning team gets the best player to win it. It should have been Messi, regardless. What do you think, Momin?
Yeah, I mean, as Singh mentioned, the fact that Spain, I believe they still would have been good if Rodri wasn't in the team, as compared to Argentina if Messi wasn't in their team. I mean, Messi obviously had more impact on Argentina than Rodri did on Spain. I personally think that if you that we saw in the in the 99th minute he was subbed off, and Spain were still doing fine. It didn't really feel like they were missing a crucial player. I mean, he went off. Who came on in place of him? I think it was Pedri. So yeah, I mean, if you take Rodri out of the Spanish team, I think they're still pretty decent. They're still the best team. So yeah, and Messi on the other side. I mean, I I don't even have to tell you how crucial he is. You can just look at the attacking stats for the World Cup and for Argentina. I mean, it's just right there for you to see how crucial Messi has been for this Argentina side. And ever since the World Cup started, he's either had a goal or an assist in this World Cup, apart from the final. But yeah, I don't think the final game should, just one game should, overshadow his whole World Cup campaign. And I also agree, and I also think that it should have been Messi who should have won who should have won the player of the tournament, the Golden Ball. But yeah, I would like to show just one post. I hope YouTube doesn't, uh, you know, copyright for this, but just an Instagram post if it allows me. It basically shows how World Cup stats since the 1966, and you can just see for yourself in. Let me just give it a minute. Yeah, here it is. So let me just put it out for you. Yeah, so look at this particular image here. Yeah, we can see how Messi has been in the World Cups. I mean, apart from goals, I mean, of course, Mbappe has been phenomenal in the three World Cups that he's played, and perhaps two or more World Cups to come from his side, and he will definitely keep his um, high score position. But yeah, take a look at the other the other stats. Assists, it's Messi. Big chances created, total shots on target, expected goals, expected assists, successful passes in the final third, passes played into the box, successful crosses, total ball carry distance, dribbles completed. I mean, it's everywhere. It's just Messi, Messi, and Messi. So I mean, this clearly shows how how crucial of a player he is, and how wonderful. And yeah, I don't really understand how they just gave it to Rodri. I mean, although these stats have been for all of the World Cups, but I think even in this World Cup, he's been pretty crucial, and definitely should have been given the golden ball for sure. So now that they're done with the World Cup, and I'd like to add one last thing. I mean, since I'm personally a Liverpool fan, and I stated this in the previous episode as well. I mean, I really like Spain as a nation, as a team, and I didn't really care who won. And but yeah, I did mention the fact that the second World Cup would solidify Messi's legacy. But yeah, he still won one, and Spain were absolutely deserving wins. But at the end of the day, as a Liverpool fan, I'm happy either way because if Argentina had won it, the trophy would have been at Anfield because of McAllister. But now, since Spain have won it, the World Cup winner will still be at Liverpool because we've signed, Victor Munoz. Although he didn't really play due to injury, but yeah, he's still part of the squad and he's a World Cup winner. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a win-win situation. And Diego, and I assume you're a Barcelona fan, a pretty, a great moment for you as well, since there are like eight Barcelona players in this Spain squad. So yeah, a great moment for Barca fans as well.
Yeah, I'd say Barcelona was like main factor in like the 2010 World Cup. Most of
Yeah,
the players were Barca, and in this one, not all of them were starters, but uh, still a great impact by Barca players, including the goal scorer and the guy who scored Ferran. So
yeah,
yeah, great impact.
yeah. So yeah, before we talk about the overall World Cup experience, atmosphere, etc. I'd like to talk about I think the young player of the tournament, of course, very well deserved, Pau Barsi. What are your thoughts on him, man? I just, I think he's been really solid, and he just proved everyone wrong in this World Cup. I mean, there were a lot of, haters and doubters who thought that he would leak many goals and etc. But I literally shut everyone's mouth. So, what are your thoughts on Pau Barsi?
I agree with the decision. I think he made an amazing World Cup. Like defensively, he was brilliant. And I think we should also give some props to Laporte because he was also very, very good. They worked very like well together. And yes, I think it had to be him. I think we all expected a lot from Real Mal too, but he wasn't bad, but he wasn't as at his level, at the level we are used to seeing him. So I think it's very deserved for Kubasi, and yeah, I think he's gonna be a brilliant defender for sure, especially in the next World Cups. He's still only 19, so he's got a long way to go and so much more to improve. What do you think, Singpak?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the decision as well. I always, kind of get confused with, young player of the awards because sometimes, like you will see a 23-year-old winning it. But like we have said, Kubarsi is only 19 years old, and I actually thought he was 21. But yeah, he has been solid throughout the tournament. And even in the other aspects, like sometimes when we see him like going forward and stuff, I think like he made like great passes as well. The one pass I always remember is when he passed to Yamal, which the goal was turned out to be offside. But yeah, I think he definitely deserved it. He was one of the stand-up players from the team for sure. What do you think, David? Oh, he's not here. Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, Bowman, anyone want to add on?
Yeah, I mean, his performances speak for itself. Of course, the credit goes to the whole backline of Spain, but I think what he is doing at his age, at being 19 years old, and coming face to face with with the best attackers in the world right now. I mean, we saw him against France, how he locked up players like Mbappe, Olise, Dembele, Due, Barcola, players like them, they couldn't really, make a difference. And similarly, the credit, as once again, the credit goes to the whole back line of Spain. All of them were really solid throughout the tournament, but once again, none of the other three is basically a 19-year-old. But yeah, I mean, what he's doing at his age is absolutely brilliant. And once again, La Masia producing talents and doing Maya the best academy in the world. I mean, there's been no doubt in that sense. Yeah, basically every other player La Masia produces, it turns out to be a really great one. So yeah, so let's now, I mean, talk about now. Basically, the World Cup is over, and we have to wait another no, and we have to wait another 4 years for the World Cup now. So now that the World Cup is over, let's talk about the experiences, the atmosphere, the vibe, and so on of this World Cup. And I mean, what did you think of this World Cup? Like, uh, how good of a World Cup was it for you? Diego, you wanna start?
Yeah, it was great in my opinion. I've been watching the World Cup like since 2010, in South Africa, and I'd say this is like my. I mean, 2014 was amazing too. If it wasn't like for the Brazil result, I'd say this is like my top three favorite. I think the final wasn't as good as I expected, but the whole tournament was great. We had like the underdogs like Cabo Verde making amazing performances, and the energy, the vibes were great. I think if the World Cup was like only Mexico, would have been way better. But this was great. It was a great World Cup. I can't lie. What do you think, Sync back?
Yeah, I mean, with this World Cup, obviously there was a lot of concerns because, like three host nations and specifically USA holding it. And how we, we've seen like them trying to ruin it a little bit, like how like Donald Trump was trying to sneak in for the World Cup photo. I mean, with the Spain national team, I thought it was quite funny. But yeah, going off track. But yeah, I do think even with like the host nations trying to ruin it, do still think it was a great World Cup overall. I mean, we got like great memorable moments as well. I mean, Sitole like at the start of the World Cup, and then like Haaland and all that stuff. There were so many, I think, memorable moments from it. And whereas for like the top three games, I would still say like the three games my favorite would be like one of them would be Argentina versus Egypt. I mean, one would be USA versus Belgium actually, and yeah, I think Netherlands versus Morocco was still quite good, and the third place game as well. Obviously I do think the game wouldn't have won like that if it was the actual final, but just as a neutral and a casual fan watching the England versus France game, it was a quite good watch, and I think yeah, that would be one of my favorite games as well. Well, what do you think, Moment?
Yeah, to start off, I think as Diego mentioned, if the World Cup was only in Mexico, it would have been much better. I mean, the Mexicans understand how football works. They have hosted, finals at the Azteca. I think it was 1986, if I'm not wrong. Uh, at the Azteca, where Maradona, raised the World Cup trophy. So yeah, I mean, they have a history. They used to have a good football team as well, but things have been really, perhaps bad, you could say, for Mexico as well. But nonetheless, I think they would have been wonderful host if it was given solely to them. But yeah, I mean, apart from the, that Trump, the White House basically calling to overturn the suspension, and then getting, completely smacked by Belgium 4-1. I think that was definitely one of the most satisfying moments of this World Cup. And we saw a lot of surprise packages as well. We saw Cape Verde, we saw Curacao drawing with Ecuador, we saw Ecuador eliminating Germany, we saw, uh, you know, Turkey, perhaps some, disappointments of the World Cup as well. We saw Turkey, we saw Tunisia, we saw Uruguay. Uh, Other than that, I think Holland would be one of the disappointments as well, because with the team they had, you would really expect, they would make it far, but they could not really do that. So yeah, and I mean, I think the vibes have been pretty great. And as for the final, yeah, I mean, it was perhaps a boring and perhaps a one-sided one, but I think if it were at the Azteca, the vibes would have been completely different. But yeah, this is, I mean, now that the upcoming World Cup will be between six countries, if I'm not wrong, or five, because it is basically the 100th century. It's just the century, World Cup, 100 years completed. I think the first game is gonna be played in Paraguay, Argentina, and Uruguay, I think, and then the rest of the World Cup will be played in Spain and Morocco. And yeah, so that obviously we obviously gonna see the South American team play in the South American nations only, because it would be really hectic for the European nations to come to South America and then travel back to Europe. So I think it would be really hectic for their schedule and also their rest days, etc. But yeah, uh, it's gonna be hopefully a great one as well. But as for this World Cup, we have a lot of good memories, as Singh Park mentioned, the Sid Hole situation, and the the referee decision from the opener game. How he announced the the suspension. We saw Mudaw's reaction to the referee, which was made a meme, and yeah, and similarly, quite another other memorable moments as well. I think it's overall been a great World Cup. We finally Spain, after 16 years, they got their glory back, and once again, perhaps you could say a golden you know generation for Spain now. After 16 years, they tried and tried and tried, and now they're finally at the top. And considering how young this Spanish team is, definitely the future is very bright for them. I think Yamal is yet to reach his prime, and in the next World Cup, hopefully when he does, I think it will be game over for every other team. But yeah, overall, great World Cup, great memories, some controversies, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's football. It's what unites everyone. We saw people from different backgrounds, from different countries, combining together, celebrating together, helping each other, and etc. That's basically what the World Cup is about. It's about uniting the world. So yeah, I think it's been great. It's done exactly what the World Cup is supposed to do. Yeah, okay. So after we have talked about the game, and now the Spains are officially world champions, and there are some controversies surrounding the final game, especially. But I would like to talk about Spain's knockout games, their knockout games in general. I mean, starting off with Austria. I mean, I don't think there was anything wrong with that game. But then, starting with their round of 16 run, starting with Portugal, we all saw how the Portuguese defense was being completely carried by Nuno Mendes. Now he wasn't really letting Yamal pass, and then suddenly out of nowhere, Mendes just went to ground and he got subbed off, and then Spain were able to put some more attacking pressure on Portugal and go through that game. And then secondly, in the quarterfinal against Belgium, we saw how Courtois, he was making great save, and then just completely out of nowhere he got subbed off as well. And then and the moment the other keeper came on, it was due to his mistake that Mikel Merino scored the goal, and Spain went through in that game as well. And moving to the France game, I think throughout this World Cup for France, I think Saliba has been really crucial for France in every game. He's been apart from Upamecano, their top defender, center back at and their defense, and he randomly got injured in the 36th minute as well. So, but yeah, I mean, although Spain didn't, kind of, you could say, dominated those games, but I personally don't think it's just, a complete coincidence that in three, perhaps four continuous game, if we count the Argentina game as well, in four continuous game, their best players just randomly get injured and, get subbed out of and then just subbed out of the game, and then Spain, go on to score and win the game. And now coming toward the final, there's been some talk, obviously some controversy in this you know tunnel video of Argentine players before they were coming out for the anthems. And I mean, you could see the emotions on the player's face. I mean, you would expect them to be hyped up, to be to yes, it's basically the World Cup final, and you could make history here, and you know, yeah, you definitely need to lift your spirits. But if I could just show the video, I mean, even if we ignore what Messi said, when we can just clearly see how, or I think we'll get copyrighted if we use this. I can't really show that because of the copyright issue, but uh, I think if we look at the player's expression, even if we ignore Messi with what he's saying, then you can still see the visible, sadness on everyone's face, and even the tears on Enzo Fernandez's eyes. Like, okay, I think it's pretty crazy. Like, I've been watching this team for around 12 years now, and I have never seen them play like how they played against Spain, like completely parking the bus. And then, and to make things worse, both of their main center backs, they just randomly out of nowhere, they just get injured and get subbed off. Speaking of Lisandro Martinez, I think he went earlier or something, but maybe Romero, he also went quite out of nowhere. Like, he was playing just fine, and then he just sat down and he got subbed off. And yeah, even if you talk about the game in overall, I think Spain had like I think 20 or 21 fouls, if we including the ones that Oyarzabal, he completely hit on Messi's leg. I mean, the ball was nowhere near. He didn't get any card for that. Yeah, I think it's been pretty crazy how Spain didn't even get a single yellow card as compared to Argentina. I mean, they got like three yellow cards, and yeah, and I think it was a bit harsh on how he got the first yellow. I think we have seen much worse, you know, reactions to fouls not being given and them being ignored. Then yeah, then what Enzo Fernandez did after not being awarded the foul. So yeah, let me just pull up the statistics. Just yeah, so here they are. Uh, yeah, let's see here. Yeah, Spain had 21 fouls compared to Argentina's 25, and they were able to get no yellow cards. Argentina got six, and I mean, if you look at the way their captain Rodri dived after a slight push from Paredes during the game, I mean, I think that was pretty, to even think about doing that, I think it's pretty crazy. And then to kind of wrap things up in the end, I don't exactly know how on what terms did Rodri won the golden ball, but yeah. And if you talk about the goal scored by Ferran Torres, if you pay close attention to it, Giuliano Simeone was the player who was on him all the time throughout that attack. But the moment Ferran Torres got an open space ahead of him, Simeone just thought, I think this is a good time for me to fix my socks and not, just track, to just continue tracking Ferran Torres, which led to Ferran Torres being completely open and him just scoring the goal. So I personally think after watching Argentina for 12 or so years now, I haven't really seen them play like how they played in this game. I mean, completely parking the bus and yeah, I mean, it was uh, it was the uh, worst I've seen this Argentine team perform in quite a long time. And even if we pay attention to Scaloni's press conference, even there something didn't really look like because you have players like Lautaro Martinez who have been clutch players for you throughout the knockout stages apart from Messi, and you didn't really bring him on. I think this game was all about Lautaro Martinez. He could have been the one who could make a difference, but yeah, he wasn't bought on, and the thing everything just felt really weird about how this this game was played. I mean, we all are aware of how Argentina have been, you know, this hate propaganda against them ever since the Egypt game. Before that, everything was fine apparently, but ever since that, the propaganda just completely took off to a whole new level. And yeah, and I think this is it could be why many people didn't want them to win the final, because then there would be questions raised on FIFA, because once again it would be rigged all around. And then secondly, to all those Palestine supporters who say that FIFA is rigged by Israel, I'd like to ask them if if they assume that Spain is that's such a pro-Palestine team according to them, you know so why didn't FIFA, help them get, help other teams against them to get them knocked out of the tournament? While if you look at their games, you could feel like they were the country that were kind of favored, apart from the other countries. So yeah, I think it's complete BS from the seasonal fans, insane coping mechanism. But yeah, eventually we hope that the truth comes out about this, and just like the files, hopefully there's something similar for this, and people, they come to realize that they've been you know uh, tricked into hating the wrong people. So yeah, this perhaps was it from my side, and if you wanna add something. in it.
Yeah, right, right. So this video, it definitely has me shocked and it made me wonder things for a while. So I have thought for a while now, and I'm gonna give my opinions now. So assuming this video is real and not AI, which yeah, maybe I do think is real, but I'm still not buying it, and I'll give my reasoning now because I'll actually explain why I think that. So obviously, in like the World Cup and things, we obviously see like a lot of like different like coincidence stats and everything. So the post you sent me, right, like the injury and all that, bro. In football, I think there's a lot of times like you can like build like a correlation along things, but usually it's just not a correlation. It's just like random. It's just a miracle. So in the sense, like I do not think that is enough to do anything. And while watching the video myself, right? So I think a lot of people are coming to the conclusion that they were told to like lose the final beforehand or something, and that's why they were crying and stuff. But I do think there could be like external factors, which causes like the players to cry. Like maybe some of the players were already injured beforehand and they still wanted to play the final. That's why they were crying. Or there could be even like very other reasons. Like personal issues among like one of the players. Maybe like their family or something. You know what I mean? Or even something crazy like a tactical leak of like the Argentina to like the secretly got leaked or something. So I think there's just like a lot of external factors that could have happened, which affected this. So while the theory, don't get me wrong, I do think it's a good theory, but as a person myself, I do not really believe onto like things when there isn't hard evidence, and I cannot like just use this as hard evidence to say that I'll like base this on or base that now. But what I would say though, I definitely do believe in the part that like, because how we've seen like how the media controls like what a lot of people think nowadays. I do think there is definitely like some sort of like scandal in like promoting the Argentina hate and everything to make everyone hate them. Because if you recall, like 2022, the opinions on Argentina is completely different from 2026. Like people wanted them to win the World Cup, then they were like fine with it, and now everyone is like kind of hating on them. I do think there's some kind of scandal for that in the promotion or desensitizing of like people for that. But whereas for this though, I just really cannot like say fully like clear this as a valid theory. So I still do not believe it. I don't buy it. I do think Spain won fair and square. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but yeah, I do think Spain won fair and square. But yeah, I just think like as a guy, I tend to like want to have like actual like hard evidence. Yeah, that's my opinion though. Anything you want to add on?
Yeah, I mean it's obviously not much to add. I said what I had to say, uh, but yeah, as you mentioned, media can they the media is controlled. They push whatever they want. But yeah, I mean you could argue that uh, you know there were some personal issue or something, but you know I don't buy that as well, because I mean if you ask me, like did their did their personal matters or something just start you know a couple of hours before the game? Because I mean if you look at their training session, everyone was happy and smiling, but then just before the game starts, and it just you know um out of nowhere. And yeah, when I don't think it was due to some personal matter or something, whatever it is. But yeah, I definitely think something was it behind the scenes, some things that we obviously won't really find heavy hard evidence of it now, because as the world works, you don't really get hard evidences of of what you assume, but eventually the truth does come out. And I really hope it's the same way here as well. uh, the truth eventually comes out, and people actually realize that how easy it is to get them yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, I
uh,
mean, I do want to add on. Like, obviously, I hear your what you are saying and stuff, but at the same time, like it is kind of hard, like because like you have said, it is kind of hard to like believe anything the media shows or anything, because there. some like a lot of times we just don't see the full image for it, because like one of the things like people are always like pushing like, that, oh, Argentina was robbing and all that stuff. We know we were, like we know that was like cap and stuff, but these were still being pushed as like conspiracy theories that Argentina was like rigged. I mean, they were like rigged for Argentina to rob the teams, because like how people were constantly using the fact like, oh, Argentina were making like late comebacks, like specifically late comebacks against teams to win the matches, and a lot of people were still kind of pushing that, as a theory, conspiracy theory, that they were like rigged to like make Argentina win and stuff. And like we don't believe in that, but that just shows on to say like, there's just a lot of times where you can like create a lot of theories and stuff. So while I still do think like, the theory you say, like it can be a good theory, but yeah, I just still don't buy it because of this reasoning. So I hope you kind of understand that.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, fair enough, really, because I, I mean, of course, everyone has their own, you know, their own mindset, their own opinions, their own thoughts, uh, but this is something that has been on my chest for the past 10 to 12 hours. Uh, I think it's been really, and yeah, I just don't think it was, Argentina played like everyone didn't play like everyone expected, and the tactics, and if sum things up, it raises some doubts in my mind. But yeah, uh, you can't obviously convince everyone to believe what you think, but I mean, unless you're a Ronaldo fan, you basically believe everything you see on the internet. But yeah, everyone has their own thought process. So yeah, I mean, this is something that that I had on my mind, and I had to.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I definitely respect that you kind of, gave your full and honest opinion. And yeah,
yeah,
like I've said, I do think it's a good theory.
and yeah, that's pretty much it for obviously our final episode of the of the World Cup series, and we may not continue this podcast for the club football if if everyone else is down. I will also have no problem in continuing it to the club season. Obviously, we have preseason starting from the 25th of July, if I'm not wrong. At least Liverpool's preseason is starting from the 25th of July, and some really exciting, games we will have for us with the talents we saw in this World Cup. Obviously, there will be big team looking to, try to grab them. Players like Unahi, players like Buati, players like maybe Baina gets a big move club as well. And yeah, such players think this is a very perhaps standout tournament for Buadi, except for the France game. He's been really under pressure, and perhaps his bad game of all the World Cup. But yeah, this is where the World Cup ends. Spain wins, Argentina runners up, England finished third, and yeah, a lot of hate propaganda going on only on one team, but they still managed to make it to the finals. And yeah, crazy, crazy World Cup. And now hopefully we can continue this podcast into club football. We will talk about not just Liverpool but also regarding the other leagues as well. We try to cover as much as possible, and maybe we can expand our audience as well. But yeah, for now I think it's goodbye for a couple of days of rest. I mean, me personally, I think I missed none of the 104 games of the World Cup. Now the upcoming days will be for me to fix my sleep schedule perhaps. But yeah, thank you to those who've been watching us in the World Cup journey. Uh, yeah, I think it's been a great journey. Uh, I mean, to start off such a podcast at the World Cup. And once again, thank you to the others without whom it would not been possible, to to make this podcast. Zakaria, Singh Park, Diego, David, all of them, Ethan, and hello those who joined in some of the episodes. We are unfortunate to get my Instagram account suspended, but otherwise we could have, gotten some influencers with us as well on the podcast. But unfortunately, it could not happen. But yeah, it's been a great journey, and thank you to everyone who's been a part of it, and hopefully we can continue this into.
Yeah, hopefully it's not the last episode, but yeah, with that, for now though, we have to say bye. So yeah, goodbye. Diego, you want to add on anything?
Yeah, boy, it's been great. It was amazing to actually be part of it, to so we could exchange our football knowledge, and I hope we can keep also making content and about like league football, and yes, improve as commentators for sure. And yes, we hope we can do podcasts again. It's been great.
Yeah, so this is it for Continental Podcast signing off for now. The end of the World Cup, all of the 104 matches covered, and yeah, it's been a great journey. So thank you, for being a part of it, and we'll see you maybe in the league football maybe. But for now, it's goodbye.
Cucucucurea, se come una paella. Cucucucurea, se le da una estrella. A la tierra, que